fight to hold our heads up high and beat the drum to what we love. Risk the follow, we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of a world that we defy. A solar ray of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the last fight. Hearing voices from afar, join the madness when the curtain falls. Risk it all, hold nothing back. Seize the day, we must attack. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of a world that we defy. A solar ray of the few who rise up high, and we all
Hello and welcome everyone to the Division 1 match between SRG Chimaera and CPH McDonalds for 20. I'm Kachka, and I'm going to be casting tonight with Hat.
How you doing, Kashka?
I am doing great. It's week 2 of the Division 1. We had already some matches, and hopefully this will be another good series.
Definitely got some powerhouses coming in. We do see McDonald's coming back after a not so stellar week 1 performance, and I'm really hoping to see a lot from them as they go into this game today.
Definitely, they are looking for, a win, definitely at least one game win if they cannot take the entire match, since it will look a bit tough if you go 0-2 twice, but we don't talk about that. We are coming in full of hope. On the other side, Chimaera, I believe they have went 2-0 in their first week up against, no, I'm not going to remember it, so I'm just going to quickly check. They played against Crown and they won 2-0, so they do technically have the momentum. And it's only the second week, so it's kind of hard to, speculate about all these things.
Exactly, and I mean, week 2 we're still seeing the teams blossom into what they could become, and also adjusting to what is now kind of 9.19 into 920. I believe we are playing on the 920 patch without any, obviously, champions banned. And so it's going to be kind of a slugfest, especially with the new patch changes that did come in. I'm really excited to see a small nerfs to Kiana and Pantheon, but I'm also excited to see if people try to pick up Garen and his new and improved non-villainous passive removed. So I'm excited to see what that looks like. Obviously, seeing Echo Jungle still could be a possibility. We definitely saw that a little bit in week 1. And I think we're all just trying to find our footing into what these patch notes mean for our teams.
Yeah, and I believe we did see Garen played yesterday, and I'm not sure if it was a Division 3 or 2 match. It definitely was in Division 1, so, we might be seeing a bit less Garen here. I'm still looking forward to whether these teams, will decide to go for these picks or maybe just stick to the standard. As I think the draft should be starting in just a couple of minutes, hopefully less.
Yes, it will be. No, we're all just finishing up our ready check, and we should be in the draft in a hot second. The things that I'm really excited about is I'm wanting to see crypto kind of put more into what they have, especially on the support role, because Plopper is, and at least when I've seen him, really good at keeping fights going as long as possible. And for an ADC, that is something you really want to see happen in any of these fights. I believe their first game last week against Sphinx, they tried a Pike Yumi combo. And so maybe they pull something out very similar today.
Yeah, I actually remember that. They tried to play it, it didn't work as well.
They brought fleet footwork, and I really think Aftershock would have served them, you know?
Yeah, I think in that case, but we'll see. Maybe they will decide to run for the same thing as... yeah, there is just one more person we are waiting for, so a few more minutes. I'm actually just going to try and see, look through some interesting picks that could be coming up, because with this meta, it's really all over the place. I mean, actually looking at buy crypto coins, this guy has so many games on Yumi. I have no idea how I didn't pick up on it before.
No, I mean, I think they just tried to play to your strengths, right? And with this new meta coming in, we're still going to see really S tier picks such as Vladimir. We're going to see Pantheon's still going to have presence, even though they kind of nerfed, quote unquote, his Q. Not really the execute damage, but just the base damage as they level. And then looking on the other side for Chimaera, seeing like SRG Prompo in the jungle, like having a Hecarim main is always a threat, you know? And so also you're saying Amumu, Zach, Karthus, Sejuani, everything's still relevant. And I think that's what's exciting about the game state now is that there are very few things that aren't relevant or can't be relevant with a good team comp. And that's why I'm really excited about these games today.
Alright, I think the ready checks are getting done, and yeah, we are going right into the champion select. We'll have Chimaera on the blue side and CPH McDonalds over on the red side, and Morgana is going to be the first ban.
And that's a good ban, which really just shows me that McDonald's has to really choose their champions wisely right now, because you can't really pick a hooker And if you do, you understand that Chimaera is going to want to pick some form of engage. Morgana, while not incredibly strong right now, the binding is the only reason that mad respect ban for the binding. We do see the Zed and the Lee Sin ban come out. Lee Sin shows that, if you're on the side of Chimaera, you really don't want that super good early game.
Definitely not, and I believe Simplest is also one of the junglers to play quite a bit of Lee Sin with 176 games in regular season, and that champion appearing quite a lot, at least in his last few matches. Now we're waiting for the last ban for the side of Chimaera. What lane did they decide to focus? Did they just ban straight OPs or something specific? They do decide to just go for the Pantheon.
I think since they are first pick on the side of Chimaera, depending on this ban, of course, but it would be good to try to pick a flex pick right away, right? Something that could flex into support, like grabbing the Pike super early, taking the Pike away from Plopper and crypto coins. We'll obviously see what they have planned here, but I would highly, in at least this meta, not picking a flex pick first while you're on blue side, unless it's a jungler, in which we do see the J4 get picked. I'm expecting to see maybe a Jin Zhao coming from Simplest, or something that can really out powerhouse them early.
Well, they do go for the Rakan and Xayah, so the early game is satisfied, and we see Plopper and crypto coins on not a Pike Yumi.
No.
Something that can actually carry the games, but an immediate response with Ashe and Braum.
I think, okay, so when we look at this bot lane of Xayah and Rakan into the Ashe Braum, you do see the CC that could come in, especially since Ashe has the auto reset on the Q, right? Which makes Braum and Ashe that glacial comp in the bot lane. And as much as I love TFT, we'll see if it works for Chimaera here, because stacking a stack on the Rakan isn't as effective as just picking Leona, So I do enjoy that Syndra was picked up. Syndra has got a lot of traction ever since we've seen Assassins kind of fall to the wayside, especially when you bring Barrier.
Yeah, and there is no mid lane being picked as well by the side of Chimaera, which means you can ban out champions like Renekton, which can be flexed into the mid lane. Don't forget, and I feel like it's one of these champs that would do really well into the Syndra, but Chimaera, they are responding with jungle bans, just getting rid of the Echo.
And that makes sense. You don't really want something that can jump on top of J4 while J4 does his ultimate. And so Bronco probably calling that out, being like, hey, I don't want to see an Echo. I've seen an Echo in all of my solo queue games. Not something that we're going to see here today. For the side of McDonald's, the Kled and Renekton out means that we're either looking for a very safe top lane on this Mundo. We're going to see Kale come back in, which is super good right now, especially for top laners that love just a quiet, I don't have a champion until 6 and then you're dead. It's also got a lot of traction in South Korea solo queue. So I'm excited to see kind of what top lanes we can, see from the side of Chimaera, because looking at their champ pools, Aurelia is still up, Akali's still up, Jax and Fiora is still up, and even your safe Gangplank. So this is going to be exciting, at least in the top lane. And then with the Nocturne jungle, it's kind of advantageous to the side of Chimaera still with J4. But we'll see what teamfight rules out the day.
Kiana is open. It is going to be locked in. Could be... most likely going into the mid lane. I was going to say could be flexed to the jungle, but then I forgot that Jarvan already has been picked.
Just J4 top,
Yeah, that's not fun to play against.
No,
That
Vladimir,
just is
the Monopoly Vampire might come out. You very well could just bring Klepto into that Rumble, which is a great pick. Rumble's a super consistent pick, and I'm glad that Gaff picked it. But on the side of team fights, at least, I do see the side of Chimaera really winning this out as the game scales. But if we look at McDonald's, there has to be early plays, or else your team fight isn't going to be as strong, although your engage will be on par, and more importantly, your disengage with the Syndra Scatter of the Week will be super helpful to them.
And I feel like we are really looking around the level 6 mark for that playmaking to take place. Simplest on the Nocturne, he needs to make something happen. With Nocturne, it's the same story every game he's picked. You either make plays, or you do absolutely nothing and most likely lose your team the game. And so a lot
Yeah.
of pressure.
At the same time, though, what you're looking for is your lanes to actually be pushed up so you can try to make a play post 6, or when you get 6, you're able to get either a double kill in the bot lane. And for any Nocturne players, as we go into our 3-minute delay, you'll see that Nocturne has to path towards bot lane, or else, unless another lane is pushed up. For example, we're not going to see Vlad push into the Rumble too much unless the Rumble gets a bad back or hard engage from J4. I'm excited to see Prompo actually make something of the level 1 to level 4 power spike that you now have in the jungle because you're against a Nocturne. Obviously, this boils down to what runes they pick, but I'm very much anticipating Simplest to go that Lethal Temple build, and Prompo to stay the safe, tanky front line and wait for Vladimir to scale up.
Alright, something on the side of Chimaera that I might want to put some attention to is that bot lane duo, because it usually doesn't get that much attention. It is centered around the level 6, get the CC, kill someone. But then look at what the response is. You have a Xayah with a cleanse. Actually, good luck trying to lock her down.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, is they saw the Glacial in the bot lane and they went, we're not going to deal with that. I shouldn't have to blow my ult as Xayah to get out of your CC, right? There should be a safe escape. That being said, you do sacrifice any ignite or any major early kill pressure by giving Rakan heal. And also, if Rakan can't swoop back to you in time to heal, the heal might come out preemptively and not actually hit the ADC. And so that's something that they're going to have to work around, and I hope they've worked at it in practice, or at least in scrims, because when you bring cleanse, you have to go with the responsibility of saving yourself, which isn't something ADCs are really accustomed to in higher levels of play.
Yeah, definitely not. Still a few minutes, so how about we, mention the Vladimir, Kiana, Jarvan, because yes, we said the plays need to be made by the side of CPH McDonalds, and I definitely do agree with it. But there are a lot of playmakers and a lot of snowballers that the side of Chimaera picked for themselves, especially in the top side of the map.
Did you just say Vladimir? Oh yeah. Okay. So Vladimir is going to have a little bit of push on the Rumble unless Gaff knows how to play Rumble. That's it. And I do believe in Gaff's Rumble ability. Anyone that picks Rumble and is not Huni is always under suspect, because Rumble is one of those champions that unless you go even, you've lost, right? And because you can't reach your power spikes and you're building full AP, there is really no tank Rumble that you can kind of manufacture. With Vladimir, it's literally just a waiting game. You're waiting until you get your death cap. You're waiting until you get your proto belt, or if you do want to go spellbinder, you can do that as well. So Pinata's definitely going to have their work cut out for them as they work around Rumble's cooldowns. And that's why I believe that wins that top lane matchup, especially since you do have early jungle pressure, whereas on the side of McDonald's, you really don't have that right away. And so hopefully we get to see how those teams work around what they're trying to do here. As we enter the game, the rune choices. I love the fact that we're not seeing Comet Ash. It's not a slow lane. We are having that lethal tempo, trusting in Postcassin to be able to hit those slows on that Braum. Jarvan's going the traditional tank build, while Vladimir has phase rush. Rumble actually bringing the Comet for Gaff on the side of McDonald, which shows me that they're trying to slow for those early Nocturne ganks with that lethal tempo. And traditionally, in the mid lane, we see Electrocute. And you were talking about snowballs, Katsuka. Mm-hmm. Guess what? Kiana is the biggest snowball we have on the Rift today.
Yeah. And you also can see I-Int, beautiful English, Danish, going for that Electrocute. So yeah, a lot of good route choices. I'm excited to just get into the game. Hopefully I won't be left out of the game like it happened last time. What is interesting is Rakan going for the Aftershock. It's not that abnormal. You see all the different rune choices, and by CryptoCoins just decides that he wants to be tanky when he goes for the engage.
And that's really what you're going to want to see, especially in this comp with Jarvan. But there's also other things that kind of bring, as they go for a cheeky invade here, they're seeing him hover around brush. I think the 5 on the side of Chimaera will pretty much stand strong and kind of be alerted to this. But if you've ever engaged like this, or at least tried to creep up, all you're doing is looking for a pick. You're not really looking for that mad engage. And so I do believe that Chimaera is expecting it. And so I'm glad that they're respecting each other. And hopefully we won't get such a fiesta that we have seen in earlier games at level 1.
Yeah, hopefully you guys are already there on the stream. I am still loading in. Monka S. Hopefully we'll be back in soon.
Yeah, no problem. But we are seeing Nocturne go for the red side, which should be a very strong leash on the side of Rumble. And then we are seeing that everyone's kind of just waiting around. They're really respecting each other's like level 1 power spikes. And so Jarvan starts on the red side, Simplest starts on their red side, and we'll get the game going with a couple of menial trades happening in the mid lane. I'm excited because when they both start red side, you really get to see plays picked up in lane priority switch. So Rumble getting back late to lane shows me that Pinata now establishes that priority. And the same for Plopper and Coins in the spot lane. Because right now, they had the opportunity to do an engage, and they couldn't do it because Braum's level 1 is too large.
Alright, I'm back in. Yeah, I can see the game. Not a lot has happened. And just looking at how these lanes are balancing early, I mean, there's little to talk on level 1. However, Solmer already seems to have some dominance over the Kiana in the mid lane.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just a poke-out game until Kiana gets her right. It's a good time for Syndra, but it's a bad time for Syndra very much later in the game, especially since Syndra brought the Ignite on Solomare and did not bring Barrier to kind of mitigate the dive potential that Inter does have in that lane.
And really the pressure is now on him to make it work. So far you see Inter... I'm sorry, I'm just not gonna say the first word, it's too hard for me to say it properly in Danish. I know how to, I'm just not going to. Anyways.
Well, I don't, so I'm just gonna say Inter.
Yeah, alright, Inter is getting poked out, he's under the tower, and the longer Solmer can keep it for, the better for him. But I feel like he needs to find at least a kill if he wants it to be a safe lead.
And he really does. And you're on the side of Solomare or just on the side of McDonald's in general, you need to know that that mid lane can go even against this Kiana so that Syndra can have ability to roam later in the map. That's what a lot of people that play mid lane Syndra, they think, oh, I just control mage, just sit in my lane, and I don't really affect the map too much. Syndra is still a roaming champion because you have your shove. However, a lane that we talked about is top lane, and we are seeing Gav really get the push early game on this Vladimir.
Solmer is going forward. He actually does land the stun. That's gonna be the first blood already picked up with the Ignite. Prompo is not gonna get feared. That was also a flash over the wall from Simplest. Great play coming in from CPH McDonald's.
That's such a good play. It's such a good catch up too, because you were able to see where Prompo was, and that gave Simplest kind of the ability to be back with the laner, even though Solomare kind of at this point. Was able to pick up that and really solidify a lead that's more than just 10 CS in this mid lane.
We'll see where it goes from here, because Simplest also 28 CS. Currently not really contested in the jungle. Once he hits that level 6, I can see CPH McDonald's just repeating the camp in the middle lane, going over and over again to punish the Kiana.
And how you mitigate that, obviously, is just roaming, right? Letting your lane push, maybe grabbing J4 in there, and just trying to establish plays on another side of the map. When your Kiana's behind, the rest of your team feels it. And so just trying to mitigate what that loss looks like, especially starting in the early game, is something that Chimaera is going to have to relinquish, or at least give up their pride for, right? If your mid lane has to go to your top lane to stop the push from that Rumble, that's probably a play that they can do. But they lose Dragon Prio, so that's the unfortunate event that happened when Syndra got a cheeky first kill on her mid lane opponent.
Right, Gav in the top lane, he's just doing some Rumble things, trying to punish Pinata out of that lane. So far that one...
Pinata's doing good though, right?
Yeah, he is. Really looking at the CS, it's just about even, a very marginal lead.
Yeah, and this is what you want to expect from Rumble, but From Pinata, I'm really impressed by just being able to grab the CC, heal up, sustain. You didn't bring Corrupting Pots, which does give you a little bit more AP in an extended trade. So I'm kind of really actually looking at Prompo here. I haven't seen a lot of. I mean, Prompo's super behind. Look at that. Like, he's like 2 camps behind, and he hasn't made any plays within or on any of the map. And so that's something that I'm hopefully wanting to see before we see Simplest get 6 in the next 2 minutes.
Simplest pretty much just power farm. That was his first recall, and he gets a serrated Dirk as well as just the. Is that the Skirmisher's Blade or that's no? It's the Stalker's Blade. Alright, it's the other one. That's a quite good first back, and he's not too far off. I actually want to see what's his experience. He's gonna hit level 6 pretty soon, I think, after that red buff.
Yeah, and he'll hit 6, and as we talked about earlier, probably trying to make a play bot so they can go take Dragon. Cloud Drake for Nocturne right away, super good. You get to rotate faster, and with your cooldowns on that serrated Dirk into that next item, we are seeing Inter get poked out by Solomare in the.
Yeah, but Simplest is also maybe killed out. He pops down the Shroud to try and mitigate the CC. Flag and Drag goes right from Purple. Here comes Inter. He is ignited. He gets a nice root. Purple is going to get a kill. It's a 1-for-1 though, as Simplest picks up the return. Solomare is going to be left alone, and kills traded in the river.
Yeah, that's a great look from the side of both teams, actually. Oh, we are seeing crypto coins.
And going over the wall, however, it seems like Prompo will be able to get out. Oh no, Harry Pulver is going in the Blade Collar right in the place. And Zaya picks a kill up.
Overall, just a good look from the side of McDonald's. McDonald's doing a really good job of rotating, and we're not really seeing that on the side of Chimaera, which is kind of depressing because their entire composition revolves around getting to that team fight as early as possible. The main reason is because Vladimir with that TP can split push, and our supreme display of talent can be used in those team fights more effectively.
Ooh, Pinata, he has the Hemo Plague. That could be a very bad trade for Gaff. Look at his health. It's dropping. Pinata, he's gonna be able to sidestep away from the Equalizer. Here comes the Paranoia into the top lane. Pinata gets the kill, but it is quickly returned by Simplest.
And while Simplest might have not gotten the greatest lead that they could have had early, they are still doing better than Prompo right now, which wasn't to be expected. We really thought that Simplest was not going to power farm and not even have an impact on the map to try to match what Prompo had. But even though Prompo had all of their lanes except bot lane pushed up, there still was not a play made. And I think that's going to haunt them later in the game as they start building more items.
Definitely the case. And Simplest already one good use of the Paranoia. I think it was... I heard it once on the LEC broadcast, and I think it was the Fishio saying it, that Shen and Nocturne, they have one thing in common. The first two ultimates decide how good the game is going to be for that champion. First one for Simplest was good. Already half the way to the second one, and we'll see if he can make something more happen, as Karpoki doesn't have the flash, he's got the ENQ, and he's gonna be able to use it.
And I think just a good escape there, but I agree with you on the first time ultimate. It really sets the tone for your positioning, and if your rotations are on point. Although I would argue that his ult kind of came off a little late because you weren't able to save Gaff from dying to Pinata, who at this point he's going Proto Belt first. Is not ahead enough to go. What's that? It's not Death Cap. God. Spellbinder.
Spellbinder, yes.
Yeah. So normally you see Vlad go Spellbinder in a very even lane, but we are seeing Proto Belt because if I'm Pinata, I know I can kill Gaff whenever I want.
Alright, makes sense. The game, I mean, I want to say it kind of slows down, but I feel like it's mostly because the Paranoia isn't on cooldown, and we're looking for some setup. Solmer just keeps going for these stuns, electrocute procs, and well, here comes the Paranoia into the mid lane. The supreme display of talent, though! That's not how you dive a Kiana. Inter is gonna get a kill.
I don't know what they were thinking there. On Simplest, like, I understand your, but...
Oh, the CC in Bola is just disgusting.
Oh!
Crypto coins, he cannot even move. He's gonna get taken down, and now Plopper is the next target. That's a double kill for Viewmaster.
And that's just, like, trying to make plays happen on the map, and you can't. Even for that botched bot engage, I still think that if Simplest had rotated more bot lane instead of trying to dive the Kiana under tower, they would not have given up Dragon here. If they do, even they didn't start it right away. They wanted to push the minions into tower, and so as they go back to it, they will establish priority. But overall, good on Chimaera. They are taking, at least losing lane gracefully, better than I had originally anticipated. And getting a kill on Kiana and on your Ashe is just monumentally going to help you scale later into the game. Which is what both teams are trying to do.
The question I have is, are you even losing the laning phase where one play puts you pretty much even at the goal? You've got the Essence Reaver on the Ashe, and we saw the playmaking opportunity. I just talked about the paranoia, but let's be honest, there are 5 playmaking ultimates. I mean, I guess it depends how far you want to take the Braum ultimate as a playmaking tool.
That's true.
On Chimaera.
Yeah, and I think as long as they use them in succession, they are the ones that are going to try to catch you out, which is what I'd originally wanted earlier in the game. But now they're showing that they can do that at any point, even before one team forces mid-game or not. And so, obviously, what we mean by forcing mid-game is just forcing the team that doesn't want to group up to group up, usually around 15 minutes. But I am seeing that even though the game state is a little different and Herald did get picked up by Simplest on that Nocturne, it can still go either way at this point. The gold lead hasn't monumentally changed. The only where it's really big is in that bot lane with the Essence Reaver, as you said, picked up before the IE, or the Essence Reaver was picked up for Plopper down in that bot lane as well for McDonald's.
Alright, now CryptoCoins is moving up in the top lane. That is the chain CC onto Pinata. He's gonna be able to use the Hemoplague and the Sanguine Pull. Is it enough to get out though? He's getting a lot of healing. Simplest is trying to pull up. Pinata still on the run. The Cataclysm from Probo is gonna keep him in place, but CryptoCoins still able to follow through and pick the kill onto the Vladimir.
Yeah, hate to see it. Oh my goodness. Vladimir can't die. He's a vampire, just letting everyone know this. But it was still a good engage. What they needed to do was try to bait out the W before Simplest started queuing Nocturne's own fear. So we are seeing Gav be looked at in the bot lane. To no avail.
Solmer also going ham in the middle lane. The Unleash power Dark Sphere, and it's getting such a back and forth place everywhere, and kills being picked up by pretty much anyone.
And I mean, that's just great Syndra play from Solomir. I had, after watching their first McDonald's game, sorry, I'm afraid for top lane here. After watching the first McDonald's game and seeing Solomir's Syndra, I wasn't that all impressed, but seeing them being able to body Kiana is giving me a little bit of hope that we get a super high damage Syndra come late game for the side of McDonald's.
You say come late game, but at 14 minutes, that's the Luden's Echo and the Sorg Boots.
And they started building a Dark Seal.
Yes, that as well. That is not a low damage Syndra.
No, and I mean, Kiana doesn't have the first ultimate yet. Obviously, you wanted to focus on the Tiamat for wave clear. But I do believe the team fight for the side of Chimaera will be more impactful. And the disengage, if pulled off correctly from the side of McDonald's, will mitigate disaster, but it won't prevent it.
Yeah, here comes the equalizer. Quickness already pulled by CryptoCoins. He gets a double knockout with that grand entrance, and the feathers are pulled. Gaff is gonna get the kill onto Viewmaster. That's one pick for the side of CPH McDonald's. They could be looking to push it forward onto the tower.
It'd be weird if they didn't, although they aren't doing the push, which means they see another avenue on the map. I am excited to see how Solomir fares against Pinata here with Herald dropped in the
yeah,
bot.
that might not be too good as the Hemoplague coming through, clean shut down by Pinata.
Maybe not the best engage you could have done, but hopefully they do get some tower damage all in that mid lane. And with first tower going down to the side of McDonald's, we kind of see their gold league grow just a little bit, even though shutdown on Pinata really puts that Vladimir in a good spot.
And I guess it's going to be a matter of minutes before we find out whether it was worth for the side of CPH McDonald. Because as I said, it's a trade. You get the first tower gold, but you also give a gold to Vladimir. something that you want to delay as much as possible. It is inevitable that Pinata is going to scale,
they're just
but
setting up like their Cloud Drake, right? You open mid lane and you push that in, and hopefully by pushing out mid lane, you're established more priority if you're able to keep Solimare in that mid to keep.
That's a good Cataclysm, and look at all the crowd control. Viewmaster picks up Plopper, they might give him the double, and there it goes. I really like how Chimaera is playing this game around their crowd control and ultimates.
Yeah, and I mean, all of their ultimates have a low cooldown. So, except Vladimir, right? So if you are Propo and you are Viewmaster and you are Poscat, like, guess what? You're gonna have your ult for that next engage.
Solmer, that's a great flash from the stand from Inter. He just gets the soul.
Not living up to their name as they just dance around Sindri.
And the tower as well, falling in the bowling. That's Chimaera getting the tempo, but can they hold it for long? It seems that Simplest. He tried to look for something. Equalizer will follow up for Gav, but he's there alone. The bowling is still too far away. That's the Glacial Fissure down.
Oh, goodness. They're trying to force plays. They don't need to force plays if you're on the side of McDonald's, but you still need to make smart plays, right? Having Solimare go down doesn't mean you have to teleport if you are Gaff, right? You don't want to force that, and you don't want to force a Nocturne ult into 3 high CC champions, such as J4, Ashe, and Braum. And I think maybe they did push them up Dragon, but not really. They're going to go take this, and they're going to take it without any impunity, and basically have free reign to roam across the map faster than McDonald's can ever answer. And so the drawback is that I think Vladimir's gonna win this game, Katska.
I mean, Solmer might have something to say against it, because Gav also joins him in the top lane. Pinata throws down the Hemoplague. He has the Empowered Transfusion. Can he get a healing in time? No is the answer! That was the last second clutch from Solmer.
Yeah, well, I mean, do you switch Dragon and a couple kills for Vladimir killing the top lane? Maybe not. But you take your trades where you can get them if you're on the side of McDonald's right now, because eventually, Simplest will fall off. We are seeing the Duskblade be built, but like if you want to build Nocturne into late game, you're going to have to start building your Sterix and your Deadmans and your GA just to have a little bit more damage and armor against this comp of Ashe and J4 and Kiana. And so trying to make yourself relevant come late game is going to be something that I'm looking at Simplest to do, because your fear can only take you so far.
Definitely, and someone we didn't really pay too much attention to is Viewmaster. He's now on 2 items.
He's
at the Ashe, 4-1-1, 30 seconds ahead, and now here goes Simplest. He's in the mid lane. He might just burst the Ashe now. No, wait, he still gets the shutdown somehow with the use of that flash, but he's gonna get taken down straight afterwards.
And I mean, that trade is good for that shutdown gold. That was a good look off of Simplest. Obviously, getting your team there just a little earlier to respond might have saved their life, or even got a double kill off of it. I'm super excited to see how, as I said before, as we get Nocturne to stay relevant, as Pinata comes down from their top lane perch and joins the rest of the team for all of these skirmishes.
Alright, the Inter in the bot lane, he's gonna be fine, not overextending, but now Crypto Coins, he might need to be careful. The Baron is up in 40 seconds, so still a while until we see that objective. We have Duskblade now on Simplest. We just saw how quickly you can blow up a backline target, and it's still a while before all the peel really starts coming into effect.
Yeah, and right now they're just setting a positioning, right? Well, when a team says, hey, we need more wars, they're just talking about map control, and if they can spot out rotations. And so, quite literally, I'm waiting to see everyone, and Pinata has the good idea of just rotating towards that top lane, pushing that out, and establishing priority as soon as Baron spawns. Because we're, based on the team comps, we're going to see just a lot of dancing around Baron in the minutes to come.
Alright, here goes Simplest once again known to Viewmaster. Can Ashe escape this time? Once again, it's a no! Look at the equalizer! It just melts through Chimaera! That's a double Harry Plopper going forward. Make it a triple! Beautiful team fight for the side of CPH McDonald's.
And now they can start Baron. See, this is like establishing prio. I'm glad Simplest is able to find that look, but it's more of Viewmaster getting caught out there. Just farming in that mid lane, trying to establish prio where your team isn't there with a Nocturne.
Oh, here goes the Vlad.
Oh, are they gonna... Oh.
Pinata had the vision. He didn't. I mean, he didn't even use the hero play. He couldn't, and that secures the Baron for CPH McDonald's.
And I mean, this Baron play should get them obviously more prio on the map. But I'm itching to see kind of what's behind the curtain here for the side of Chimaera, because they're getting caught out and then they're trying to force plays. And I really see in this matchup, we should see being able to see teams trying to force plays than more calculate them themselves. And so it's good on Simplest making that play to catch the Ashe out. But Pinata, try a flank, you know? Try to get in there. If you are going to try to make that stalling Baron play, don't go right at them, because you're going to have a hard time. So I'm excited to see how this map goes with Baron on the side of McDonald's. But overall, we just got to see better group and team fights on the side that does have the better team fight, which is Chimaera.
And you mentioned it already, but I'm gonna just reiterate the point. Brewmaster needs to stay with Postcastle, or, well, really anyone. Because as soon as he's on vision and alone, Simplest pops the paranoia. And that Nocturne hasn't fallen off yet. It's still a while to go. I think you're looking at 10-15 minutes before you can be safe on your own. And even then, I wouldn't probably take that bet.
No, I wouldn't take any of that bet. I mean, maybe it's on Postgasm for just trying to rotate with the team. Or maybe it's on Bushmaster for trying to just farm out, right? You already are ahead in levels and you want to expand that gold lead. As they take that tower to try to answer, I'm just kind of wondering if they set up for Dragon or they try to push out waves. Baron-empowered minions are no joke. And with this drag that's super important on the Infernal, we're going to see who can execute their team fight better here.
It is going to be Chimaera under the pressure, since you have the bot lane pushing in, the top lane pushing in favor of CPH McDonald's, and they have the Baron buff. As I look down the line, all of the ultimates without exceptions are up. This is going to be a very explosive fight. Alright, the Euro is being popped. Dragon is getting low. That's Prompo going right into the pit onto Simplest. The quick into the backline. The equalizer as well. Everyone is dying. There's so much damage going through. It's a double being picked up by the Rumble. And this done. That's going to be CPH McDonald taking the fight. I don't even know what was going on.
So let's break down that fight for a little bit. Basically, I was worried that Gaff would miss their ult. And they did, in a sense, because when you engage on Prompo on that J4, on that Dragon, if you are a Simplest, the one thing you want to do is you want to make sure that your ADC and their support, in retrospect, are safe. And literally, if you were to play back that team fight, Plopper just doesn't get touched. Plopper's just laying in on the damage. Solimair's getting a scatter of the weak, which put Inter out of position, and therefore was able to kite effectively. That's really what happened. Plus, having the extra damage from Baron doesn't hurt either. So, really good plays from the side of McDonald's. Chimaera just needs to get their head on straight and wait out this Baron play.
Alright, that's just a kill picked up by Solar. Inter going forward, and that's a flash away. Solar, he's still alive, making the double! The Syndra is absolutely outplaying everyone! What the hell, mate? That's a triple for Solmer!
Solmer, what was that? Like, we did blow a Nocturnal. You see pings on the map there. But that's just incredible footwork coming in from Solimair. Being able to just navigate, play your cooldowns with your Zonias, and basically kill the only saving grace that SRG Chimaera has in that Vladimir.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get over what Solmer just did.
I want to see that. I want that play on, the Penta top 5. That was pretty good. That was fancy footwork. Crypto Coins being able to come back and give that extra shield was no slouch either. So I'm glad that they're just pushing objectives. They were able to grab that inhib straight out of that mid lane, and now they can see and look for any other plays. We are seeing pings come in just as warning, but with no objectives up, McDonald pretty much has free reign of the map, and with their item spikes right now, they can pretty much walk anywhere as long as they're a group.
Well, we'll see how that evolves. This game now feels so firm in control of CPH McDonald. 6,000 gold ahead. You picked up a death cap on your Syndra, double lethality for Simplest. It looks unlikely for Chimaera to win, but then remember what their comp is meant to do. If they get their team fight, they can't get right back at it in no
And they
time
just
at all.
have to focus. They really just have to focus Solomare and Plopper, right? And make sure that Boymaster is safe. That's it. That's all they have to do. Protect your ADC, dive the backline. That's what their comp is made for. That's who they need to slow. And when they allow CPH to start those fights, they put themselves in bad position to blow all of their like fight-changing ultimates onto one or two people instead of spreading them out. And so hopefully we see a change, a good flank, and being able to get that good peel coming in from Pinata as well, as everyone's ultimates are back up again.
That's 100 stacks sitting onto Pinata's Spellbinder. That's gonna be a very fast, a very scary Vladimir when the time is right for Chimaera to pull the trigger. The flank, as you said, probably the most important is Crypto Coins. He might get caught out. The Paranoia has already used Inter, just deleted. Look at now the backline. You see Pinata trying to do something. The power is unleashed. Solmer is just legendary. Vladimir falls short in his tracks. And the rest of Chimaera, they have to retreat. They lose the fight 1-2.
And mainly they have to retreat because these super minions are just destroying their base, which obviously gives Boommaster a little bit more farm on this Ashe. What is more scary, a fed Ashe or a fed Xayah? It's Xayah in this retrospect, especially since they have a 1-level advantage. Trying to protect this tower, though.
Yeah, I just don't think it's lucky. Gaff is gonna lose quite a lot of health. Combo trying to jump forward, has still got the Cataclysm available. He's gonna go on to Simplest. Flash away from Gaff. Propo is going to die to pull up. This is a 1-for-1 Viewmaster. He's just barely alive. Here comes the Kiana. Inter is trying to do whatever he can. The ultimate goes wide. That Sommer, legendary. He's trying to make the outplay happen again. Can he do it this time? No. It's gonna be a shutdown picked up by Viewmaster.
And, I mean, Viewmaster staying alive in that play is down gold, and gives them that shutdown to be able to then go make plays. Obviously, there's a 200 gold bounty on them. We look at how much Viewmaster's gold they have in the tank, and it looks like they have almost 3,000. So they're looking to go back, try to finish an item, if not just start a new one. Overall, I don't want to say that's a turning point for Chimaera, but it definitely opened their eyes to the possibilities of being able to kite and use their champs to their most effective ability. I'm waiting for Pinata to finish that death cap.
Yeah, I just checked the goal. He is under 300 away. So if he gets the entirety of that wave, he should have it completed. The Baron is up again. The vision game, not really the focus this time. If you look at both the vision scores and the minimap, there's a lot of darkness, which is, I mean, I guess good for both of the teams. If you
There's
are
just so much fights happening, Kafka.
Yeah.
Like, no one's establishing control. And that's putting both teams at a disadvantage, right? You're letting the game open up into more of a skill matchup instead of more of calculated play. And so even though the level advantage does favor the side of CPH, you're not going to see... sorry, I was wondering if Solomare would pick up that blue. You're not going to see a lot of skilled play if you're banking it on who has vision for these rotations.
And before the next fight, this is huge. GA picked up by Viewmaster. Simplest will find it very difficult to one-shot him now.
And that's just a good item buy. This is a straight item buy with all of that. And just giving you that extra damage. I'm excited to see this Baron fight. There are people out of position. We do see Solomare coming on the flank.
Yeah, and here comes the quickness Paranoia as well into the backline. That GA is popped immediately. Solar goes golden. The supreme display of talent can't do anything. Inter picks up the first kill of the fight. It might be in favor of Chimaera, but look at all the damage. The low health bars are just sacking up. Viewmaster is already dead. Propo flags and drags away to safety. Crypto Coins flash forward. The Gleaming Quill is not going to quite get him. That is just 1-for-1 for the time being. Pinata trying to kite around that Baron. Here comes Flopper though. Great dodge on the grand entrance. I cannot believe only 2 people died.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm still reeling. I thought there. Solomare is just trying to take the inhib right here.
He won't be able to unless, post-casting he decides he doesn't want to tank everything. But that's just.
And we get a Baron start coming off, and the TP coming in from Gav. This might actually just be their Baron, as SRG has to clear their waves and push out. Another Baron for the side of CPH right now.
They will extend their goal if they will have another chance to hopefully close this game out. 20 seconds on post-cast, and that was an unfortunate mistake, but it shouldn't cost his team much more than the Baron, although, you could argue whether the death of the support actually was what gave away the Baron.
Yeah, no, I would argue that it wasn't the death of the support, it was the fact that Chimaera just went back. They stopped contesting with Pinata. Pinata is Vladimir with the death cap. You can heal a lot off of any jungle camps or minions that are coming in. So you would still be in position to contest if obviously a solo Xayah descends on Baron. And so right now, we're just looking for pushes. We're in almost the exact same position as we were 10 minutes ago when Baron was first taken. So I'm excited to see if we can get another miracle play coming in from Viewmaster to finish what I would suspect is a QSS coming in.
Most likely. Or maybe a
Or
Hex
Ma.
Drinker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could be either.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see.
And you are trying to build cooldowns that you couldn't build with IE or Essence Reaver. And so a Ma would work here as well. So I'm just... The map state, this very much feels like the tenseness of a solo queue game that you don't know what's going to happen. And because we aren't seeing clean engages from the side of Chimaera, we got to hope for a miracle play as Sulimer is just pushing out Inter in that top lane.
And that's the arrow connecting onto CryptoCoins. Great catapults him into the backline. Here comes the paranoia. Equalizer is laid down, but Viewmaster just doesn't care. Keep your eyes on the Ash. He's walking forward. That's the stun. Solmer, can he delete anyone? That's gonna be Purple already down. Viewmaster trying to kite back. He's dead, and I think that might be the game for the side of CPH. Unless Inter, can he pull the game off? Pinata is alive as well. These two can make a lot happen. I might have called it a bit too early, but the Nexus Towers, they are taking so much damn damage. Both of them are down already. The minions are pouring in. That's gonna be CPH McDonald's. Wait, I might have called it too early. No, the minions take it. CPH McDonald's take game one.
And I mean, honestly, when you look at that game, you still coming up clutch. If you don't talk about Solimer in this game, I'm sorry you're griefing, because that was mid lane all the way. And then being able to set up plays for Simplest, right? I mean, we do look at Flopper, and you do say, oh, well, Xayah did a lot of damage, especially when you go into your details and you kind of look at the graphs of damage here. But at the end of the day, Solimer with 42,215 damage doesn't even get matched. The next closest damage is from Gaff's Rumble at 27,000. And so Solimer really coming up and really showing that week one was a fluke, and they're back and they're ready to show, especially Chimaera, but the rest of the division that they're here to play.
Yeah, great performance in game one, and I think we might just leave it at that. We'll just leave the suspense to you as we're gonna go into the break before the game two.
Per creare l'atmosfera giusta devi avere tutto sotto controllo. Quando ti serve proprio quel brano, Spotify Premium è la soluzione che fa per te. Dallo studio alle feste. Beh, praticamente per qualunque occasione. Con Premium ascolti la musica senza pubblicità, ricevi skip illimitati e la riproduzione su richiesta per sentire quello che ti serve al momento giusto. Che ne dici di provarlo per 3 mesi? Tocca il banner per saperne di più.
Come round again. We wanna dose of this right now. It's KD. I'm McDonalds with a blaze. 소리처럼 나 이름 믿지 못하게 loud, 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 loud. I could take you to the top. 절대 멈추지 못해. 내가 끝내주는 bag, yeah, yeah, yeah. And when I start to talk that, oh, you know how to react. I'm a picture perfect face with that wild in my veins. You can hear it in my growl, 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 growl. So keep your eyes on me now. 무엇을 보든 좋아할 거야. 다 할 수 없는 배vo. 나와 되길 원한 늘 확신해. We got it all in our hands now. So can you handle what we're all about? We're so tough. Let's get it, show you out. Can you feel the rush now? Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down. They could try, but we gonna wear the crown. You could go another round, 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 round. Wish you luck, but you're not bringing us down. Go hard, till we get it, we go hard. We're so in it, we pop stars. Only winning, winning now. Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down. You ready for this? Let's go. See, 언제든지 내 모습 매직 단 한 번에 내가 잡아 절대 기죽지 않지. 펴펴 네가 뭘 알아? 견딜 수 없어 원해도 원하는 게 얼굴에 보여. I'm trouble and you running it. I'm so cold. When I move that way, you gon' be so blown. I'm the realest in the game. Said I'm on fire with the blade. You're about to hear my name ringing in your head like whoa. So keep your eyes on me now. 무엇을 보든 좋아할 거야. We're so tough. Let's get it, show you out. Can you feel the rush now? Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down. They could try, but we gonna wear the crown. You could go another round, 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 round. Wish you luck, but you're not bringing us down. Go hard, till we get it, we go hard.
Welcome back, everyone. We are ready, or well, nearly ready for the game to draft. And in the first game, it was kind of messy, but CPH McDonald's, they managed to take the win in the end. Solmer in specific, very impressive performance on the Syndra.
Yes, and I like the word messy here because through the entire point of the game, we just did not know who was going to take it. Even though, like, after those first Baron take and the second Baron take, it was still up to Viewmaster and Postcassin to really step up, and we were waiting on that. They had the comp to win the game. But from the side of Simplest, the Soul Bear, they really stepped up and they showed that they can outplay and out-rotate the side of SRG Chimaera today. And so I'm hoping to see a little bit of improvement on a little bit more maybe quelled siesta play, if you will, instead of fiesta play, as we did see last game. Because if they want to scale up, if they want to get to that mid-game team fight, they're going to have to do it together. Something that we will point out is that we will be using some placeholders in this draft, and it is my job and Casca's job to just keep you all informed right away of what those placeholders are as we go through draft.
I mean, they're not guaranteed, but to be honest, CPH McDonald's, they asked us how to do them, so I don't think they would do that for no reason. So I would expect at least one to come through in this draft at one point. If not, then we'll just go through. Who knows? You know, drafts are like dynamic things. Sometimes you think you're gonna go for something, and then you realize that actually you're not. So, yeah.
Yeah, sounds like a Yasuo state of mind. We are seeing a Zed, Nautilus, Morg, and Syndraban. Respect Syndraban coming at Solomare personally from the side of Chimaera.
Not really surprised after last game. I mean, what else would there be banned instead? Nautilus Zed, as you said, we were now waiting for the last one for the side of CPH McDonald's. Maybe they decide to ban out something like the Vladimir or the Kiana. Yep, there goes the Vladimir.
And I really don't think they want Pinata on a comfort pick such as Vlad right now. Vlad is on. Well, Pinata didn't do that bad, and we do see the lead-in ban after Simplest again, and we'll see if Simplest can do what they did last game. But maybe on the Nocturne, maybe on something else. Do they want to run it back? Do they not? I'm definitely looking. Oh, well, J4 has been hovered. Obviously, we can't be sure, but I'm excited to see that first jungle pick. Is kind of setting the tone for what the side of McDonald wants to do. And I'm kind of excited about the answer from Chimaera.
Yeah, I do wonder that as well. Maybe do they want to go for the ball lane, or is that just going to be a mirror draft? Yeah, at least for now it seems like it is.
And I mean, the lovers duo in the ball lane, they're basically just saying, hey, what you did last game, we're going to do it better. And Xayah Rakan is always going to be good, even though with light nerfs to Xayah. I still think we're going to see impressive play coming out of the spot lane, which does force
Unless we don't see a Rakan.
Unless. You're right. Pantheon coming in. That could be Panth jungle. It could be Panth mid. It could be a Panth top. I'm hoping to see it, obviously, in the top lane. But damn, flex picks really coming in for SRG Chimaera today.
Depending on what goes into the enemy bot lane, it could even be a Pantheon in the support. We did see that from 7 AM when they played Tilia Pantheon, which is more disgusting than it sounds.
It's horrible. it's insane with the amount of CC that you have on Tilia. I don't know if we're gonna see that, but seeing the Lucian pick here tells me that they might want to go Braum support later. And we are seeing for us, we're seeing Aurelion Soul is going to be picked, but it is actually Rakan. They are taking away the Rakan from the lovers duo that could have potentially been for Viewmaster and Postcassin on the side of Chimaera, which actually tells me that that's what Chimaera wanted, because they did the hover, they were ready, they had the opportunity, and so I maybe see a Thresh pick here or a Leona themselves.
I mean, they could also just go for the Kiana.
It's open.
Yep, and you can just ban out mid lane champions. Let's not forget, Aurelion is Rakan, so mid lane most likely is the focus of the bans, and there goes Cassiopeia. And there aren't that many more champions that can safely lane against Kiana. That would also be top meta.
No, and I mean, what you could have tried to do if you were Solomere, you tried to poke them out, right? So my favorite interaction is actually Annie against Kiana because Annie has a very safe laning phase with the range, but it's up to Kiana then to make plays into a Tibbers or into a stun, right? And so that's basically the type of mid laner you have to play against this Kiana, who isn't really an assassin, but can treat themselves like an assassin once they get that first item or that serrated dirk.
Definitely. And Rek'Sai just restricting the champion pool. We don't know where exactly that Pantheon will go.
Or Kiana, really. Kiana can still jump.
Oh yeah,
Still that opportunity.
that as well. I did forget about it.
Yeah, so I mean they got the Madflex picks, and maybe that's why they didn't pick Rakan, right? If we're not gonna respect the solo lanes on the side of McDonald's, then you're gonna pick the people strongest. However, that does leave an AP jungler open, so that's who I'd ban, which is Echo. Echo coming in. So maybe that played right into Chimaera's drafting hands. Maybe it didn't, but we do need to see a little bit more AP on the side of Chimaera here.
Well, that's not necessarily AP, but they do secure the front line and the tankiness. Go for the Sejuani, so Prompo will have... I mean, it is a very decent jungler for such a long time that whenever you see Sejuani, it's pretty much... Yeah, it's just the jungler that you pick if you want to do well, but you don't necessarily have anything spicy.
So, theory craft with me here. For the side of Chimaera, Pantheon support.
Okay. And then,
they pick an AP solo laner right here.
I mean, they could just... I mean, I don't know. Does Pinata play Rumble? Or
Yeah,
maybe Kennen?
Maybe Kennen, right? But this is severely lacking. All Tank J4 for Simplest has to do is literally just build tank. Like, that's all they have to do against this heavy armor, enticing comp. And so we are seeing Alessandra come in, which is also a very safe mid laner, especially going against what they anticipate as enter on the Kiana once more.
Unless that will be Pantheon top and you... I mean, I don't know, there aren't that many... Well, I'm sorry, I'm just reading the placeholder chart.
Yeah,
there aren't that many AP supports, and you can see that Chimaera, they're also taking their time, so they actually don't go for any significant AP damage.
No, they don't. That's weird, because with the Braum, the Xayah, and then the Pantheon of the top lane, what you're really asking is if we make early plays and we trust that they don't have any champions to help scale. And so as we go back into draft again and they stop using placeholders and they'll just draft out what they just did, we'll kind of see a little bit more in depth of really what their plan is, because they have to focus early with the power spikes on Sejuani, but they also have to be sure that J4 doesn't get those easy picks, and that hopefully they don't impact the early game on the side of McDonald's as well as they did in game 1.
Alright, now we are just running through all the bans as quickly as possible. Hopefully no one accidentally bans a champion that was actually picked. That's just what I hope for.
That's happened.
It hasn't happened to me yet, but I don't want it to.
No, and I mean, this is at this point more of a formality. They are picking an LCS order, so we're not gonna. We will determine where the lanes are after this draft phase, and we are seeing a Gangplank go against Pinata in that top lane. Gaff is a good solo laner and knows how to play safe, and that's really what you're telling me when you pick Gangplank is you're waiting to scale to the late game. Lysandra in this last patch did just get a little bit of an AP buff on her Q, on her passive and on her W as well, and so a little bit more safe pick into this Kiana, and hopefully in the future we can see an ample, at least, trade between those two laners as the game starts. So I'm really worried for the side of Chimaera, but I do hope they have a game plan because they have a lot of CC, Gaskin.
Yeah, they definitely do, but then you look at the mid lane, you pick a Kiana, and CPH McDonald, they have responded with that Lysandra, which is a pretty hard counter if you ask me. It's not necessarily going to beat you, but it's going to make sure that you don't beat it.
And we are seeing a cleanse coming in from Solomare, which is telling me that the Sejuani, when it comes to ult you in the mid lane, you're going to be ready for that, so you don't have to escape using your traditional method, which can be countered by a supreme display of talent. And so bringing that cleanse gives yourself a little safer, especially if you're going against a Pantheon, or especially if you get jumped on before you can burst your abilities down. Obviously, we haven't seen their runes yet, but I am anticipating pretty standard across the board. And if you are on the side of McDonald's, the focus is this bot lane. It is not top, it is not mid, it is getting bot lane ahead as quick as possible, especially with Lucian, who does fall behind later in the game if they aren't able to get a few kills right away.
Alright then. I'm just waiting to see that happen. With the placeholders, it's always really annoying because you have so much time before the game actually starts. So maybe you should just run down lane by lane, and there isn't that much exciting stuff, but maybe let's just start with the bot lane, because we see Plopper, he goes on a Lucian, an AD carry where you pretty much have to get ahead, and Viewmaster gets Zaya without the Rakan. This time you are going for the Braum. So what are we really expecting to see down in the bot?
So what we're going to see is we're going to see a simplest path down the bot lane, hopefully start blue, and then just path down, get their buffs, and hopefully contest Scuttle. If not, if you don't see Promple along the way, that's an easy engage onto a lane that they can control with Lucian and Rakan. Mainly, if you're inside the Brewmaster, however, with the Zaya and Braum, you're just looking to take those early trades up till your level 3 and your level 6 power spike. And so, obviously, a safer lane on the side of Chimaera, but if you're McDonald's, the bot lane has to happen, because if it doesn't, you're going to be in a very sore spot across the map. Because if your bot lane loses, let's say Prompo comes down and takes out Plopper right away, and Viewmaster gets the kill, suddenly you have an early Essence Reaver, you're just going to have all losing lanes, and that's nothing for Simplest to handle, especially as J4 going that full tank build. And so their work is going to be cut out for them in a very easy cookie cutter mark, because if they can't get Plopper going, it's going to be a rough game on the side of McDonald's.
Alright, well, that is what we are looking though for the side of McDonald's. But now, Chimaera, they are coming off a loss in this game, in this match, sorry. Coming off a win in week 1. We said they might have the momentum. Game 1, it was, yeah, it was a bit shaky.
Shut down. Yeah, it was shut down, and you could say handily, but overall, we will get to see if CPH, if they take this 2-0, that's an entirely new CPH, right? And then that makes us worry about Sphinx a little bit more, right? Because if CPH can take down teams that aren't Sphinx yet, I'm going to be super excited for that rematch later on. But right now, I'd like to see just a little bit more fire coming from Chimaera, because with this comp, they need to start early, fast, get a cheap kill for Prompo to path up top onto that gangplank, maybe before the oranges are popped, maybe a cheeky level 1. Because Pantheon's kill pressure is super strong early.
And I mean, Gangplank is a champion that is pretty notorious for being diveable, despite that orange. You see so many junglers just pathing down there. And if you look at the mid lane, I feel like Kiana Intershoot most of the time have the lane priority over Solmar. I mean, it is a bit difficult, but if you have the kill threat onto the Lissandra, you can probably force the wave to push in. And if you ever manage to do that, you can rotate up in the top lane and make sure that Gav dies even more, which could be a good potential strategy for Chimaera to get themselves back into the series.
And the worst part about this game is that both teams will want to focus different lanes, right? Obviously, I've talked in length about McDonald's wanting to force that bot lane. But basically, you're looking to snowball your solo lanes, if you're on the side of Chimaera, that are already picked into playing back, which is why the Sejuani pick's really good here. Even though they don't have any AP, it's going to be an exciting match nonetheless. We are seeing Grasp on Gangplank. Pantheon Conqueror build, which tells me just a little bit more tank to stay in those team fights and get a good front line for Viewmaster to work around, as Ashe really is kiting potential last game was yet to be desired. Solomare coming in with the Aftershock, and Lucian pressed the attack. Rakan again on the Aftershock, and Braum with Guardians. And so I'm excited to see how this game goes. And I'm especially excited to see if Solomere can pull off the same bullying potential on Inter with that early game.
I'd be very surprised if that happened. Mostly because Lissandra being Lissandra, you don't expect the champion to really get ahead. When you pick
But
it,
a level 2
Okay.
gank from Jarvan.
that is true.
With you build your W first, you get level 2, suddenly you've trapped Kiana with or without a dash into a knockup, and then hopefully bursted them down enough where you can either secure the kill or blow the flash.
I mean, yeah, I actually can argue against that. That is a good point. It's all really up in the air. I'm mostly looking at the early plays from the junglers because I feel like Simplest just being around the middle lane at the right time is. I mean, it also, of course, mostly Solmer's outplay, but then also the Nocturne helping out. It helped to snowball the side of CPH. And Prompo, in the first few levels, he didn't do anything. Then in the bowling, yes, he had a couple of good plays, but it might have been a bit too late. So this game, once again, I want to see Jarvan and Sejuani, two of the most ganking junglers, especially after they hit level 6, actually do something. Find a lane you can gank and execute on it.
Exactly, and really help your laners out. And I think that's why last game felt so much like a fiesta, is because it was everyone for themselves unless Simplest ulted with that Nocturne, right? Everyone was just doing their own thing, and that's why it felt like kind of a crazed solo queue game. Here, I want to see some teamwork. I want to see people execute cleanly and to the best of their ability, and then rotate to that objective. Don't be afraid to go and take that when you have that advantage, because seconds are wasted, especially in early game objectives, when you decide you're going to clear vision. They already know you're there. You can clear your vision on the way out. Overall, as we get to the game, we are seeing them do a basic 5-stack. I don't anticipate any cheeky invades here. However, the strongest level 1 comes on the side of Braum at this point, or Sejuani, depending on what's happening. So if we do see anything, it'll be on the side of Chimaera.
30 seconds until minions
Alright, yeah, it's gonna be just the 5 point, so not a lot happening. We could be seeing maybe some members just going through and trying to sneak in some wards with junglers that can go around the walls, that can gank your lane. It's important to know where they are at all points, and if you can track their start, that significantly helps you to know where they will be going.
And that's why I think, even though we are seeing good action mid lane, you do throw your jungler through the center so that you can hide them easier if they are spotted out. And because Propo can go anywhere, literally, you can grab red and then gank top. You can grab red, path bot. So there's nothing that tells them based on their kit they have to go somewhere. And we are seeing Propo start red, and we are seeing Simplest on J4 go for that blue. And it'll be a pretty even, and I don't think we should be able to see any vertical jungling here today.
Alright, so both junglers starting on their top sides of the map. The side of Plopper and Crypto Coins, so the bot lane of CPH will arrive to the lane later on. We'll see if that will throw off anything at all for Chimaera.
I don't think it will. I mean, it's going to be pretty generic. 3. We are seeing what Solomere just push Inter in, basically daring Inter to pick up some farm in order to get poked out. And this is kind of that level 1 to 3 interaction I was talking about earlier. They know that Prompo isn't going to come down and gank this lane. And a level 1 Kiana.
Really Simplest level 1 gank top lane. Quick first blood for Gav.
There it is. Well, we said Simplest was going to go somewhere early. And they picked top lane. So it's good to punish Pinata right away.
I mean, great execution on the gank. And you get a kill onto a gangplank. And champion that is supposed to lose this early on. And of course, the lane isn't done yet. But that is going to be a massive buff for Gav.
And I'm glad Simplest is just showing some fire on this J4 early. Something we didn't Prompo last game. Jarvan is meant to just go gank to gank to gank. And so let's see that happen. Gav swallowing some oranges on Pinata.
That's a huge minion
trades.
wave though. Pinata needs to be careful. It looked like a good trade for the Pantheon, but then in the end he loses so much health it ends up being roughly even.
It is. And I mean, I'm excited now to see Gav come online just a little bit earlier. And we are seeing kind of what we expected, at least in this early game. We're seeing Crypto and Plopper pushed up super hard. Gaff is the only unexpected Gaff, to be frank, in this game, because building a call and then coming back into lane, ready to farm. Pinata, what do you do as Pantheon here? All you have to do is hope that your jungler comes up.
Prompo is gonna find himself in so much trouble. Good flash. Actually, he manages to navigate the situation well.
Yeah, he did blow the flash, which hurts Prompo's engage, however, which just extends the amount of time they can actually affect their lanes. And so, really, just good execution, great rotations coming in. And really bad on Prompo, you tried to secure Scuttle Crab, and you couldn't. And so we're going to see them path back down. All right, Pinata, calm down. We're going to see them path back down to bot lane. And both Scuttles will actually be taken by Simplest here.
So good pathing from him, at least in the early game. Looking down the lanes, it seems to have calmed down a bit. Of course, that top lane anomaly will just keep going for a couple more minutes, unless we see Gav just continually outplay Pinata, which it's really hard to say. Based on the one game that we saw these two play against each other, really anything could happen out there. The eye still, though, on Simplest and Prompo. Where they decide to make their moves will dictate how this game will go.
It will, and we just got to see Prompo step up, or just power farm to 6, right? And just tell your lanes, hey, like, it's going to be okay. We still have CC advantage in our team comp. And so Solomare is still doing some bullying, but that won't last long, as Inter is about to achieve some supreme display of talent very soon.
And last game, when he hit that ulti, we saw Simplest go for a dive and immediately die.
Yeah.
This time it's harder. You're not playing a Nocturne, and I doubt they will actually try and dive the Kiana this game. So Inter will have to try harder in order to find a similar level of play.
And they will. We are seeing just Dragon Prio come out from CPH here. So let's. That's a nice. Guess who's gonna Gangplank. That's beautiful mana conservation. You already have your pots. This is a good dragon pickup, and nothing really Prompo could do here as well, as they are just chilling on the top lane, looking to see if they can get a return kill on Gav, who is stacking up that farm lead really well.
I mean, Gav is playing this situation really well. If you think about what is going on, CPH, McDonalds made the call, we're gonna go for the dragon. They know Prompo will try to retaliate, so Gav doesn't give him an opportunity to.
Yeah, no, and like, I think they were just testing to see if there is vision. Of course there wasn't, because Boomaster and Postcaston couldn't even get up to ward, and because Inter's always been pushed in so far, there's no way they had vision on that. Especially since both scuttles were taken by Simplest. And that's really the importance. We did see Prompo waste just a little bit of time in that top lane, but we got to remember that late game is going to go to Boomaster. So just hoping, if you're on the side of Chimaera, that you can make it there and get your Xayah online.
Alright, where are we really looking now? 7 minutes in, the only play that was made was the one in the top lane gang, and we can still see the repercussions. Simplest now just trying to help out his mid laner, Solmer, push it out, and probably just go for a recall, to be honest.
Yeah, no, you're looking for that extra scuttle, and you're looking actually for a return gank on top lane, which we are seeing Prompo try to just ward, because you did see Simplest go path top, and you kind of have to mirror that as a jungler who knows that their lanes, at least their top lane, is 20 CS behind a Gangplank.
This is not how this game was supposed to be played. It was meant to be Chimaera diving top lane, but looks like CPH McDonalds are gonna try one themselves. The crowd control is stacking all up.
Oh.
Gav gets the kill onto Pinata. Solar kills Prompo. In the ball in action doesn't
Plopper.
Plopper going forward. He's gonna pick up the kill. Inter joins the top lane fight, but already without
Inter.
the ulti, he might die
Living
here
up
as
to their
well.
name.
Solar takes the aggro actually. He's
Oh.
going to die. Gav taking a lot of damage. Inter is gonna make it a 1-for-1, but a massive tempo play for CPH McDonald's for 20.
Yeah, CPH McDonald really laid into them there, not only in the, also in the top lane. I'm glad Plopper came to play today, especially seeing everyone rotate top. Now's the time.
The Grand Starfall Pinata is gonna be able to get one back without ulti, just dashing into the top lane and finding out Simplest.
Yeah, that's an overstay. I want to focus on Gaff. I want to focus on Gaff right now.
Alright, let's do this.
Okay, so Gaff has 60 minions left on their cult. There are 2 kills up. They got 3,400 in gold. They're 1,000 gold base over Pinata right now. And literally, if you're on the side of Chimaera, all you have to do is try to make a play anywhere else because you already know the gangplank is fed. The pirate ship is sailing. And with Solimer also being able to get on the action with a couple of these kills, you're able to actually stay in lane against Inter, who actually gave up a kill in that top lane, even after using a supreme display of talent. And so it's going to be really exciting going into later into these games, understanding, hey, why is Gangplank so strong? Well, it's super simple. Your Xayah can't even contest someone that can one-shot you with their Q and their barrels at the same time. Okay, I'm done.
I mean, fair enough, that is who we are looking at. What I will be looking at, though, is how Chimaera can turn the fate of this game. 3,000 gold deficit on 9.5 minutes is no laughing matter. But, well, if Inter doesn't die here, that would help, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Solar is picking up the kill. And, yeah, just don't do that if you're Chimaera.
Please.
And try to maybe play around Viewmaster. That would help.
It would. I mean, so I think Chimaera, this extends
Alright,
back
this is just unfortunate. Holy moly. The crowd control.
So, I'm a coach, right, Kazka? I coach a team.
Yeah.
There's one thing that I like to tell these players, and I like to tell them that if you force plays, you're either going to, by a small margin, win them, but most of the time you're setting up your enemy for opportunities, right? That's what they talk about on LEC desk. That's what they talk about anywhere League of Legends is played, is your mistakes can't outweigh your pluses or any of positives you create across the map. The only positives that Chimaera has going for them right now is that potentially Brewmaster will scale. That is it. Everything else they've tried so far has just been a disaster across the map. And so right now they need to look for a confusing play on CPH McDonald's, or they just need to play it safe. You already know that they're going to outscale. You can't focus a losing lane if you're the side of Prompo. You just let your Pantheon get items as they come and try to lose gracefully into the mid game. And so I hope to see that because if they keep giving away these plays, they're just going to give away the series.
Cryptocoins is popping down the quickness, goes in with the Grand Entrance. Featherstorm pulled by Viewmaster. Can he stay alive? The Ignite is sticking it down, but so is Harry Plopper. He has to heal away, and Post Cassin is gonna get a kill with an auto attack. That's a good play by the ball lane of Chimaera.
And I mean, those are the things you're looking for. Obviously, it wasn't the engage that you were able to set up, which is super helpful, especially for Viewmaster looking to finish an item and try to match the Bork from Plopper already.
Solmer gets the root as well as the Glacial Prison. That's what you talked about. The lockdown in the middle lane of Kiana proving to be too much once again.
And maybe this is... Oh, and Herald coming down in that mid. But maybe this is just the Kiana effect, being so OP for so long, and then suddenly not knowing how to respond to CC. And so, just overall good drafting by the side of McDonald's here. And unfortunately, Shelly, you will not see the base today. But good tower plating is taken up for CPH too.
Yeah, the mid lane tower, it might even fall. Yeah, the CPH McDonald's, they just commit everything they have. And it works. 5,000 gold in the lead now at 12.5 minutes. That is a huge lead.
And as I just discussed, you know, Dragon Proud just went over to Chimaera. But now it's all the way back on the other side for CPH McDonald. And you did Gaff rotate. And I'm going to try to hover over and see, do we have an upgraded cannon barrage for Gangplank here? I'm not seeing it.
Not yet.
No, it's close though. It has to be.
Hold on, I'm actually gonna try and... I think he is at 261. Wait, that doesn't seem right.
That doesn't seem right at all.
Yeah, Simplest is gonna pick up a kill onto Viewmaster.
No, I mean, that's just
missed
getting
that.
caught out. Yeah, that's just getting caught out in the jungle from the side of Chimaera. Again, they're trying to force plays that don't exist, and
Oh,
J4 already has items. We're getting ult coming in from Pinata.
good flash away from Plopper to get away from Pinata. Simplest now, he is running away. Slowed down by the Spear Comet, down to 300. Not in any minute danger yet, but does the stun and is shut down.
That's a good
by the
shutdown.
Pantheon.
Yeah, you needed that as Pinata, especially on someone such as J4. Can Crypto Coins escape? Yes, thank goodness.
Yeah, the Glacial Fissure not quite connecting in this play. But however, still one kill for the side of Chimaera. They try to stem the bleeding. But the question still remains, what are you going to do about that Gangplank?
Well, you either force the shutdown gold onto your carry, such as Viewmaster, or Inter has some play that is made. You got to get this Kiana back in the game. You need an item on that because right now, more importantly than ever, not only levels and experience, but actually item spikes are really what's hurting Chimaera now because of all the mistakes that were made earlier in the game.
You see the first items being completed for everyone apart from the Gangplank. Triforce being very expensive for the early game, whereas I can only see the Essence Reaver and the Yumu's Ghostblade for Chimaera, which is nowhere near that close as maybe a play in the mid lane. Onto a Plopper, he fails the dash over. Well, that's gonna cost him his life. Pinata goes on a killing spree.
For League of Legends players that don't know, you cannot dash over that thick wall unless you take an angle on it. And so you can dash over the skinny walls that are facing the opposing side. So just a little bit of heads up. Not as bad as a missed flash, but definitely feels just as bad if you are a Lucian in that situation.
That's going to be unnecessary gold funneled into Pinata further. And you know, we said how he lost his lane early. Now he's trying to get back, getting to relevant levels of power. Solmer will be able to take the second tower of the game for the side of CPH McDonald's. The Baron is still so far away. This game has accelerated so fast, it feels like it should have been much later.
And CPH's gold lead is kind of why that's happened, especially since like we are seeing culls being brought out from the side of CPH. They're just getting more and more of that gold. But also, this lead is just insurmountable. And I mean, as we said last game, warding isn't even going on. Like, map control doesn't exist. It only exists via kills and what they can take afterwards. And so, I think Brompo's only gotten one scuttle so far. And that's just in hopes that they can try to get any control over this map as CPH just transitions from coast to coast.
Right. 5,000, I'm gonna say it once again. A play could be coming up in the top lane for the side of Chimaera. The Grand Starfall by Pinata is going to get disengaged from.
Yeah, that's another forced play. Yeah. What they need to do is they need to answer Gaff in the bot lane. Do that. Down there, of course, Baron isn't up yet, so that would be the most opportune time. There is no vision. It's pretty dark. And so trying to focus all of your efforts on the top lane is great, but it's not going to give you anything as Plopper chasing down Inter.
He has to burn that supreme display of talent for the disengage, not what you want to do when you find yourself behind and in dire need of a play.
And like just looking at the farm scores too, I'm really proud of Solmer for being able to really put a hard engaged mid laner in their place. Especially going into this game where, like, early game is really what won, at least the early game for CPH. Hopefully Pinata can get back with their next item, which looks to be Black Cleaver.
And Solmer, once again, you mentioned him, he's performing for the second time. This time not on a hard carry mid laner, more on a utility champion like Lissandra. But 3-1 and 3. As we said, making Inter pretty useless, at least for the time being, just completing that Dusk Blade. It's everything you want from a Lissandra in mid.
It is, and all you do is you do your job. You play your role. And that is, if you're a control mage, control your lane. That's it. Once you control your lane, you can set up plays around the map, which is exactly what Simplest has done, which has set them up for really just a satisfying lead right now. The only thing that can really separate them from that lead is if they start making mistakes, which, as we all know, Baron brings that out of people. And so there is still a little bit of hope left from the side of SRG Chimaera today.
Alright, I want to see where this game takes us. It feels like there aren't that many things really to focus on, but the narrative that we have, at least for this specific team comp, is I feel like if you are Chimaera, you are just hoping that at one point Viewmaster will be able to take over the game, and Inter will be a sufficient backline threat.
And you saw that Viewmaster is almost finished actually with the cull. There's one more minion, and they're just looking around. Wolves, no chickens up, and they're just looking to finish that cull, get that extra slump of gold, and just try to compete with this Lucian. Eventually, as we see around 20 and 25 minutes, you'll see that Lucian will become less viable. You are one item down though, so hopefully Viewmaster can pick up this game because you have such a strong front line with post-casted and Pinata, if done correctly. And so I'm excited to see how this goes now that Gangplank has finished the Triforce and is going into Hysterics Gauge.
However, what needs to be remembered is what we mentioned in the champ select but actually failed to bring up ever since. That is a full attack damage composition from the side of Chimaera, as now Pinata, he's actually going to die to Proper. Great 1v1 with the Calling Cannon Barrage coming in for just some good measure. But coming back to my point, look at how tanky Simplest is already. That's only going to get worse.
It's only going to get worse. He's got the Bramble Vest with...
Oh, the Supreme Spot of Talent is good from Inter. Can Chimaera find anything at all? Post-Cassin is dropping low on health already. Viewmaster just throwing out the feathers. He has to flash away. Simplest, he's just too damn tanky. Gaff goes on a killing spree. All of this damage committed to kill the Jarvan, and it's not even close.
That's just feels bad. Like, Jarvan and Simplest is doing their best to just be that front line and just say, hey, team, do damage, because what are they going to do? I have a Bramble Vest. I got tabbies. Another botched ult coming in from Kiana, although...
Yeah, Gaff is the target. Viewmaster trying to run forward. The orange already popped. That's a big shutdown for Inter. At least big for him. Sommer goes in the backline. So many low health bars. Both carries barely trying to slip away. Crypto Coins is gonna get Pinata. And Inter is gonna get flashed. Plopper just picks that kill up easily. The Baron's still not secured. Prompo, Viewmaster, and Post-Cassin alive, but Post-Cassin might find himself dead very soon, trying to jump away. The Guardian is going to save him. Simply he cannot get the kill in time, and Prompo takes him down. That's a decent turnaround.
Yeah, no, there's a lot that's happening right now that I'm kind of astounded by, right? Because I want to know Pinata's, like, really... their confidence on the champion, kind of their internal, like their win rate is one thing that can happen, but we really need to see them step up in fights now that they have the Black Cleaver finished and can really be a subtle frontline when Prompo isn't there. As we discussed, like you said, like their all attack damage team now needs to start shredding armor, and so hopefully seeing a little bit more Black Cleavers. Not the item I really wanted to see out of Xayah here, with the Phantom Dancer, as your damage is still lacking, but maybe you can kite around them. And so, again, we're going to have to wait another 9 minutes until we actually see the Xayah come through. And hopefully, more mistakes from the side of McDonald's, although Solimar...
he has been read like a book by Sommer with that stealth, but now he will be collapsed upon another Lissandra. Can he stay alive? The Frozen Claw nearly gets him on. The Cataclysm is going to secure his disengage. And Gaff picks up Pinata. Prompo is next. The double for Gangplank, and the collapse from CPH McDonald's is immaculate.
It really is. This is their Baron play. This is their game. They had it in it. That's all I gotta say, because when you give Gangplank 2 kills, like with a hard 2, he's able to really take over the game, take over the map, and if you're on an enemy team, it's really hard to try to answer that. A nice contest coming in from Cassin. There's not a lot they can do. Basically, they either run it down or grab Dragons, and that's all McDonald's has to do. The ball is in SRG Chimaera's court to see if they can turn this game around. It is possible, but they need to work around their ults, and they need to work around cooldowns, and that's not something we've seen from them today.
And it seems unlikely anyways, no matter what team it is, to come back from a 10,000 gold deficit against a team that is just scaling armor when you are with full AD, an assassin that quite frankly hasn't done anything this game so far, though Inter is trying, and now your support is gonna get cut out.
out.
Solmar
You
gets his
hate to
rampage.
see it.
Definitely do.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Very small one. But maybe.
Well, I believe, hope they can. But they first got to wait out this Baron buff and not get caught out, as we've seen just happen. Another dragon coming to the side of McDonald's is really putting Chimaera in a rough spot. However, if we can finish that Warmogs on the side of Prompo, we might actually see an ample front line coming from the side of Chimaera.
Could as well be. Tier 2 in bot lane is doomed to do so much damage with the demolish.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
No, I do like, and I haven't seen it in these games, but because we don't have enough AP damage.
Good force. Viewmaster now without the ulti for about a minute or probably even more than that. It's a clear window that CPH McDonald's can utilize, and you don't need to give them any.
They're just like, hey, we're gonna take this tower, and then we're top tower. What are you gonna do, right? Because they have no ample engage without Sejuani, and Plopper's just gonna kite them forever. And so, really, the game is Gaffs and McDonald's to lose at this point, because they already have all their win conditions solidified at this moment.
The inhib tower goes down. Viewmaster eats a barrel as well as the entire engaged. Plopper is on a killing spree. That's 2 kills already. The supreme display of talent just isn't gonna do anything.
No.
Double kill picked up by Gaff. 3 kills over to CPH McDonald's 420, and they're looking for the finish. They're looking for the 2-0.
They have to, man. It's like there's this series was determined by just mistakes. It was simple mistakes made by Chimaera, and they need to show up those mistakes as they go into the rest of the season. Hopefully we may see some cheeky kills here as Gaff is just laying waste. It's a pirate's life for Gaff as we come in. And just GG's coming in from the side of McDonald's. They put in the work, they put in the time, they made less mistakes, and they built their team comps around their win conditions. And I'm really glad to see Simplest, Solomare, and Gaff really come up in this series today.
And a really completely different team, it seems like. Although, it could be maybe saying something about Sphinx instead of McDonald's, since, they lost 0-2 against them. I think it was Sphinx, right? I hope, anyways.
Yeah, it was Sphinx. You good?
Yeah, good. Now they show up. They show that, they are definitely up there in Division 1 with a great performance, honestly, in Week 2, turning it around. And for Chimaera, I feel like it was more at least in the very beginning, it was more the plays of CPH that won them the game, rather than pure mistakes from Chimaera.
That's true. I believe CPH just played their game. Really, they were like, "Hey, this is our power spike. Hey, this is what we're gonna do," and it just wasn't answered. It wasn't answered from your Sejuani on Pronto. It wasn't even answered when Pronto was on J4. We just need to see more attempts at plays. That's not Pinata ulting in and hoping for a pick, right? They do have a pick comp, and they were waiting for Xayah to scale. But it doesn't happen if you just let yourselves get picked in the process.
It definitely doesn't, but I don't think there's that much more to say unless, do you have anything else?
Overall, I'd like to say that Solomare really stepped up. And they just set up Plopper, not even to be there. Plopper, we didn't talk about them, but they were able to clean up kills when needed. And that's exactly what you need to secure a win. And so just congratulations to Proper Simplest. A very clean 2-game series. And for what we need to work on and what we'll see later, let's see if SRG Chimaera can bring this back, just as we saw last week with CPH McDonald. An exciting division that we're going to have, and I'm excited to cast it and be along for the ride with everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, the Week 2, Division 1, I think it's alright. I'm not sure. There will be a match on Sunday, though.
Yes.
Not entirely sure which division, though. So, yeah, you'll probably just have to wait and follow us on Twitch to make sure you're there. Also, join the Discord if you're not there already, so you can know when we are live. And also, just, standard announcement that we'll probably be doing for the rest of this split, that the finals should be organized at a LAN on 13th to 15th of December in Denmark. So if you live anywhere there, you can definitely join. And there are sponsored prizes, so a lot to look forward to. But I think that will wrap it up for today. So have a good night or day wherever you are.